Now here in the United States, President Joe Biden ratchets up the attacks going after his rival Donald Trump. Steering away from domestic and global issues, President Biden called Donald Trump a loser and a threat to American democracy. And based on statements and policy pronouncements from the Trump campaign, President Biden could be onto something. In fact, over the weekend at a rally where Donald Trump accepted the endorsement from the National Rifle Association, he floated the idea of a three-term presidency, which is in direct violation of the U.S. Constitution. Our next report explores some of the authoritarian ideas emanating from the Trump campaign.
Let's welcome the 46th President of the United States of America, the Honorable Joseph Robinette Biden. Let's welcome him.
It was a politically charged weekend in the United States. President Joe Biden and his political rival Donald Trump made direct verbal attacks against each other. Addressing Black American voters in the state of Michigan, Biden called Trump a loser. The current U.S. president also said that Trump was a threat to the nation's democracy.
Folks, the threat that Trump poses is greater in his second term than the first. It's clear that when he lost in 2020, and I mean this sincerely, something snapped in Trump. He just can't accept he lost, and he lost it. That's why on January 6th, what happened? Every legal avenue Trump tried to challenge the election failed, so it unleashed an insurrection. And now he's running again. He's not only obsessed about losing 2020, he's clearly unhinged. Just listen to him. He calls the insurrectionists who stormed Capitol Hill patriots. He says if reelected, he wants, quote, every one of them pardoned.
The U.S. president also campaigned in the battleground state of Georgia. He delivered the main commencement speech at Morehouse College. From racial inequalities at home to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, Biden spoke to graduating students about a range of issues. However, things didn't go as smoothly as Biden had hoped. Biden faced a silent protest from some students as they turned their backs away from the president's podium as he delivered his speech. But Biden was quick to move on and didn't let the silent protests bother him too much. At another event, he steered away from domestic and international issues and made his session solely about attacking his Republican opponent, Donald Trump.
The fact is that this election, lots at stake. Lots at stake. It's not about me, it's about the alternative as well. You know, I think it's fair to say, I won't use the exact phrase I'd use if I was still playing ball, but my opponent's not a good loser. But he is a loser. and I don't want to get started. I'm going to get in trouble. But the thing is, he's laid out, and the Republicans in the House, he can tell you, my colleagues can tell you, they're laying out exactly what they're going to do if they win. Everything you let me do, everything you help me do, everything we've done, they want to undo.
As Biden took potshots at Donald Trump, the Republican Party's presumptive nominee scored big in Texas. Trump secured the support of the politically and financially powerful National Rifle Association. In Texas, Trump even floated the idea of being president for 3 terms, which would be a clear violation of the U.S. Constitution. The 22nd Amendment limits the presidency to just 2 terms and was enacted after Franklin Delano Roosevelt served as the U.S. president for 4 terms. Trump even reached out to gun owners and urged them to vote against President Biden and the Democratic Party.
If the Biden regime gets 4 more years, they are coming for your guns, 100% certain. Crooked Joe has a 40-year record of trying to rip firearms out of the hands of law-abiding citizens.
Trump also claimed that Joe Biden wanted to take away the gun ownership rights of Americans.
But under Crooked Joe Biden, everything you stand for is under threat like never before. Our Second Amendment, which is largely why you're here, I mean, that's the biggest statement for you, you know, when I go and make speeches at different places. It's always important, but today, this is the big statement. It's under siege. Second Amendment is under siege.
The former president, who reportedly kept the crowd waiting for 2 hours before arriving at the venue, appeared to freeze for over 30 seconds after the teleprompter malfunctioned. Trump also urged the gun owners' community to quote-unquote swamp Joe Biden.
But one thing I'll say, and I say it as friends, we've got to get gun owners to vote. Because you know what? I don't know what it is. Perhaps it's a form of rebellion, because you're rebellious people, aren't you? But gun owners don't vote. What is that all about? I've heard that. I heard it a few weeks ago. If the gun owners voted, we would swamp them at levels that nobody's ever seen before. So I think you're a rebellious bunch. But let's be rebellious and vote this time, okay?
Donald Trump continues to lead Joe Biden in polls, but with the ongoing hush money trial, Trump's rise in popularity has faced a speed bump. With Biden and Trump preparing to face each other in June for their first presidential debate, the rematch of 2020 is building up to be one of America's most awaited political showdowns.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.